Shut up. Hi, everyone. My name is Hannah Olivas, and I am coming to you live from Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm from She Rises Studios, and we are about to venture into another panel discussion of becoming an unstoppable woman in finance. I'm super excited because I'm here with my amazing co-authors and She Tribe. I'm here today with Lauren Weiss, Rebecca Chandler, Nicole Curtis, Heather Benton, and the wonderful, famous Adriana Luna Carlos. I'm going to be your moderator for today, and we're going to talk finance. We're about to work out, work out, work out, work out. Everybody, get your money, do your curls, do your dips. Woo woo! All right. So, my first question for today's panel, and I'm going to shoot it straight to Lauren because Lauren is ready. How's your heart rate, girl? How's your heart rate?
So far, so good.
All
it's
right.
Normal, 98.
Woohoo! That's what I'm talking about. We don't want to check mine. So, we've been hearing Miss Lauren, and this is in the book, and if you bought the book, you know this, but you talk about women, Web3. What is Web3? And why do women need to understand what it is? What is the advantage of Web3?
Okay, I love this question. First of all, thank you for having me here. Web3 is essentially decentralized and ownership, right? You get to dictate your information. And also that falls into DeFi, right? Which is decentralized finance. So right now you can think about a bank, right? All of us go to bank. There's different apps that we have that we can send money, right? But there's always that middleman between you and the other person that you're trying to pay or receive money from. So essentially Web3 plucks out that middleman and says, we don't need you anymore. We're not going to pay you anything else anymore, right? And I'm just going to have this relationship with this person and send them any monetary or digital assets or money, right? Finance. So I want to go back just a little bit and discuss what Web3 is. So does anyone here remember dial-up internet? Am I right? Okay. Yeah, good. Yeah. So I want you to imagine what Web3 is right now. That's where we are. It's infancy, right? So Web 1 was kind of like that text format. Web 2 is kind of where we are right now. We have social media. We have that interaction between one another. And unfortunately, what has happened in Web 2 is that people have kind of taken over our data and used it against us, if you will. But Web 3 says, hey, wait a second. Now, we're going to take that back. And the truth is that Web 3 is our future. When I talk about Web 3 and the blockchain technology, it's definitely finance, but it goes way more than that. It's going to be our health records. It's going to definitely affect the real estate business. It's going to affect so much. And so we as women, we need to be a part of it, right? Because we didn't get that chance to sit at the table with Web 1. And look where it landed, right? We didn't get the chance to sit at the table with Web 2. And look where that's landed. But guess what? We're not only coming to the table, we're building the table with Web 3. And that's where we're at. And that's why it's so imperative for women to come right now and start learning. And I'm not going to lie, it's scary, right? We have all this total different lingo, like GM and IRL and, what is DeFi and all of this different type of bro culture. And that right there is the reason why women need to come in and just experience it and really start learning about it so we can dictate our future and the future for our children and the future for the world.
So what would you say to a woman right now who really doesn't understand what it is? What would be a place or a resource of where they could start to really understand what Web3 is and the fundamentals, say for someone like myself? Where would you direct me?
Okay, so obviously Google is our friend and YouTube. There's a lot of information on there. There is no shame in Googling what GM is. All right, right here. I got on Twitter, which that is probably where I'm definitely going to encourage people to go, is on Twitter. That's where most of Web3 is right now. And I kept seeing GM. Like, what is this GM? Like, are we talking about cars? Like, what's happening here? So I totally had to Google on private browser, mind you, because I didn't want anyone else to know, what is this GM? What is this DeFi? And GM, side note, is good morning. And that's what I love about Web3, is that the community, it's so much about collaboration and community. So to direct someone is you're gonna have to just jump in. You're gonna have to just experience Web3. And I think one of the best places to do that is just start dipping your toes in Twitter. And there's some awesome people and awesome spaces, audio spaces you can jump into and just listen to women. Women there in Web3 are there, like they're so excited and there with open arms to just welcome you in, whatever questions you have. Some really great projects in Web3 that I highly recommend just jumping into is we have Boss Beauties. There's, of course, Women of Web3. There's on a Solana chain, we have the Lions. So there's all of these different communities that you can find out who the founders are. And then we can go ahead and just like connect and learn about the space and just the lingo by being immersed in it.
Mm-hmm. So, Rebecca, what would you add to that?
Well, I can add a personal experience. I am, I'm out of an era before the internet, and I'm now making my career, in internet commerce. The biggest thing that I think we're looking at is power moving from the hands of the corporations into the hands of the individuals. And women having a huge opportunity, and they're already embracing it. They're having a huge opportunity to make an impact with this decentralizing power on making a huge impact on their families, their communities, the world. Decentralizing finance has been something that our company has been a leader in, and we're still kind of like an anomaly when we try to introduce our company to a lot of people. They just don't grasp it. They're like, well, how does this work? Well, we're still a finance company, but we have maybe like 100 people working in the parent company base, because all of us who work in this company are owners. We each own our own business. And because of that, all of the money that comes through the parent company, the majority of it goes back out to the sales force. There are no home office, like there are no big offices with big cushy chairs that our clients are paying for. We do a lot of our business on the web. I write all of my policies in video meetings. It's phenomenal. It's really wonderful to be able to have that. And I'll just say on a personal level, this means that I can be writing insurance policies and arranging retirement savings from my house while I'm homeschooling my daughter and assisting my husband in his home clinic practice. It's a totally new paradigm. It's a paradigm that's opening up so much opportunity for women and with all the hats that they wear. So I'll just throw that out as an added bonus of what's coming.
So we just had someone ask, what is the best way to invest in fintech space? Lauren, Rebecca, would either one of you want to, or even Heather?
I'll throw that at Heather.
Heather's like, nope. Lauren?
Sure, no, I'll go ahead and take that.
I'll let Lauren take that one.
So obviously this is not necessarily, it's a do your own diligence, right? It's do your own research, which is DYOR. You will see that in the Web3 space constantly. So I highly recommend, probably the best thing, one of the most easiest things is NFTs. So everyone kind of heard about the NFTs. I think that's the easiest piece of entry. It allows you to play with things. It's a low cost of entry. So you can kind of gravitate towards a community that you really love, and you can buy in an NFT and then just kind of immerse yourself in the community. So again, there are going to be some things that are a little bit new, right? Because predominantly the Web3 community is on Twitter and on Discord. So you are going to have to get used to those types of platforms, but it's so worth it. So I would say probably look at an NFT would probably be the best way to enter into the Web3 space.
Awesome. Thank you. So my next question is going to go straight to Laura Lee. And my question to you is, what is your number one goal in becoming an unstoppable woman in 2023?
Oh, my dear. I have some hefty goals. Just, I can hardly sleep at night of the things that I have going on in the future. And as you ladies know, that are maybe some do not know, that I have last year, I felt like I had a download that I wanted to teach financial literacy to young adults. Is very few schools teach anything whatsoever. And I was very good in school and I was very good in math, but not everybody is the way the school system is. I even learned how to do income tax in school. It used to be done a long time ago.
Wow.
Kids don't have a clue. They think, oh, I make this much money. They forget that they might only take 60% of that home. They don't have a clue. They don't know the wording. They don't understand the wonderfulness of compounding for and against them, especially with the credit cards. Anyway, so I have some very big goals. And for me, it also, I'm on a mission to learn how to monetize our natural abilities and to show people how there's some easy ways to make some money by just sharing information. As long as it's a win-win for everyone, it's easy to do. Anyway, plus get into goal setting and mindset work with some young people. I had no idea when I got into finances 25 years ago that self-help and self-improvement went along with this. Like, I was like, really?
Yes.
And I'd see people on stage being inspirational speakers, and I'd think, what a great job. Oh, maybe I should check into that someday. Anyway, I'm checking into it.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing. So my next question, I'm going to shoot to our fearless leader behind the scenes. And my question to her is, you know, as a young, innovative woman, what is your financial goal for 2023?
I honestly think about the future often. And I think that when we talk about living in the moment, that doesn't help us, forever. And that's only good for in the moment feelings. So I think longevity all the time. So my number one goal is to figure out, and this is a reoccurring goal each year, on different ways to save for my retirement and what I would want that to look like. Everyone's retirement saving is going to look different because it's dependent on the lifestyle that they want to live. So my advice is to figure out what that looks like for you and be realistic in that goal. That doesn't mean that you can't shoot for the sky, it's just about setting a number, what divides that into those years, and figure out when you want to retire by. And then you'll start to see, okay, this is what my goal is. Part 2 to that goal is how to make that a reality. So that comes right back into research and being strategic, but also persistent. Like, sometimes people start to research and then they give up on the idea because they feel like it's a lost cause and they'll never get there. I am not wired that way. I'm wired to where until I have the answer, I don't let that go. I don't just put it aside. So I would say my number one goal for 2023 is to have my retirement saving figured out and planned out. And then again, revisit each year thereafter.
Is there a vacation in there with your mama?
I mean, yeah, that's like I said, being realistic. What do you want that to look like? So in my retirement, I want to go to a lot of different places. So planning that out ahead of time, not only is it, again, being realistic, but two, having fun with it. Like you want to, you only have one life, have fun, enjoy it. So what do you want to do in that way? But being realistic in the sense of how many times are you going to go on a vacation? Who are you really going to be able to bring with you? Because that's a lot of money, and you don't want to put that cost onto somebody else. Like if I really am going to invite someone, I want to be able to pay for that someone because I want them there. Doesn't mean that they wanted to be there. I'm sure they would enjoy it, but you know, you don't want to assume for people. I like to have everything figured out ahead of time. So that's my goal. And that's what I share with anybody that I talk to. And it's just, it's a mindset, it's a philosophy, and overall a feeling that you should instill within yourself.
Well, thank you for sharing. So my next question, I'm going to ask this to Nicole Curtis. What made you want to take charge in your finances? What was that pivotal moment that you said, enough, and now you're the boss?
Well, some of you actually might be surprised by my answer. So I grew up with a household that the husband controls the finances. And even though my husband and I are very much together on the same page with our finances, there are some cases where he had his own account for things that he wanted to do, like play money, and I didn't have one. And there was times where we have a joint, you know, for paying the bills and all of that, where I was then pulling from that. And I started having this negative kind of pull toward him because he had his, but I didn't have mine. And it started adding friction. And that was really when I became that next level unstoppable woman in my finances, when I was like, you know what? I'm going to have my own set aside like you do. So then I can reward myself. I don't have to ask to borrow, right? I'm taking that power of for myself to be able to not just do some things that I want to do, like get my hair done or, you know, nails, whatever that may look like, or buy more chickens, right? It is allowing me to then kind of look for a future for myself of how do I want to financially set myself up? What do I want that to look like in the next 6 months to the next year to the next 5 years? Because even though my husband and I are very partnered in our marriage with our finances, I do think there's just that added value piece for women to be able to have that separate source of power within money, to be able to decide what they want to do, what they don't want to do, and be able to say yes or say no to certain things based off of having that financial stability separate. So that's my answer. It might be a little bit surprising to you because I actually haven't ever really shared it much. And I think a lot of it is just the stigma of coming from a household. You know, my dad always provided. He was the one that took care of the house, even though we didn't make a lot of money. You know, we had to hunt and fish for food because he didn't make a lot, but he controlled it. And I grew up that way and just assumed that my husband would just take that responsibility. And we've been married almost 19 years, or we just celebrated our 19 years. And for the longest time, he was controlling that. And just over the last couple of years, we really sat down and had a heart-to-heart discussion where I was really vulnerable and shared that, yes, I love you. Yes, I'm blessed and glad that we have this unity here, but I need my own. I need to step out from that. I need to create wealth, generate wealth for myself, and have that self-fulfilling love to do what I want with it, to serve with it, to give with it, to support charities with it, to not feel bad if I want to hire a housekeeper, right? Just the options. So
I think that is something that I could identify with what you just shared, because there's this joke that's kind of going between me and my husband that I started. When we got married, I owned a business, and he's had a very successful career in what he does, and he makes great money. But I was like, I'm going to make more than you. And he was like, that's the face I got, by the way, was a pfft. So I hope he's watching this. Because it was more of a friendly competition, yet collaboration, because what's mine is his, what's his is mine. But if I do decide that I want to go out and treat myself, I know I can, and I know I will. And as because we have this understanding of what's ours is ours, but we also have the understanding of self-care, investing in ourselves, replenishing what has been depleted. And for example, he has a major Amazon habit and fishing habit.
My husband too.
I'm like, dude, like, does that fit within our budget? Are we good? And he's always telling me, babe, go get your hair done, go get your nails done, go buy a new purse. And I'm like, I want to go to Home Depot. I like that kind of stuff, but there's this balance. And I wonder, when we were talking about women in finance, how many couples are imbalanced, who get so uncomfortable talking about their finances with their significant other, or one is more involved than the other. And then it becomes like this struggle. And I feel like if there's open communication and honest communication about where you are in your finances together and separate, then, it just works better. So I'm going to lead my next question to Heather, because you are the financial GPS mama. You teach men and women across the world how to build their legacy and how to have that equality and that balance in finance. So what would your advice be to a couple who is truly struggling on the imbalance? Maybe one makes more than the other, one has a higher spending. What does that look like? What do you tell them?
It is hard sometimes when you sit down, with a family, with a couple, and they're trying to map out what that looks like. It's funny because my theme back here says marriage and money. So that is a class I teach. Marriage and money. Rebecca's familiar with that one. And it is really sitting down and having, like you said, honest conversations. And they're hard to have. And unfortunately, it is ingrained in our society, and then definitely in societies around the world, that women don't have as much of a voice when it comes to finances. And I know my chapter, I talk about this in the beginning of the chapter about taking that active role for women and understanding. It really comes down to a lack of confidence. And across the board, maybe they aren't good at math. Maybe they feel like they're not supposed to make those decisions. Like they're going to upset their partner if they say that they want to have an opinion. So there's lots of reasons to have the lack of confidence and feel like they can't talk about it. So for instance, if I have a couple sitting in front of me and the husband is still the main breadwinner, and maybe he doesn't feel like, I've had many times where I say, well, she doesn't need life insurance, I just need life insurance. And I say, okay, well, why do you feel like she doesn't have the worth of needing life insurance? And they'll say, well, she doesn't work, I work. Right, but she's taking care of the children, she's doing your laundry. You wouldn't have any food to eat, you wouldn't have clean clothes to wear to work, you wouldn't have anyone to drive your children to school, you wouldn't have anyone to teach your children. All of these things that other person is doing, what is that worth? If she's not here, what is that worth? And so an exercise I've given people before is, no matter who's making more money, and sometimes the woman's making more money, and the husband's being the stay-at-home dad, those roles can be reversed, or maybe they're pretty equal, or maybe one's just making a little bit more than the other, or maybe one is a business owner, right, or an entrepreneur, and the other one has a steady income. So they don't take the other one seriously because they're like, well, yeah, but I have guaranteed money and you don't have guaranteed money. Now, little do they know that job's not guaranteed, but that's the way some people talk. That's the conversations they have in their heads and with each other. I say, okay, before we make our financial plan, before we sit down, I want you to write 3 things that would make your life harder if the other person wasn't here. Right. And when you say that and you make them really think about what would be my biggest challenges, a lot of times those scripts all of a sudden flip, and it kind of makes them realize the value, of the person is sometimes even more than the value of the dollar, right? So, getting those hard conversations out is really where you're going to find the change in mindset sometimes. And unfortunately, a lot of these things are generationally just embedded in our DNA. So maybe we had grandparents that struggled in the Depression. Maybe we have parents that came over from other countries and were immigrants. And so they look at money differently. A lot of people look at money as it's dirty, as it's bad, as it's evil. So starting to understand that money isn't dirty. It's not bad. Oh, well, it's dirty. Like, don't touch it, put it in your mouth or anything. But it's like, it's not dirty in the other way. It's not bad. It's energy, and it does hold power because it is our means to be able to do things. So we have to learn how to control it for ourselves. Like Adriana said, everybody has a different definition of what retirement looks like, what they're going to need, where they're currently at. Like Lauren said, learning different ways. I'm not comfortable talking about fintech because I know Lauren keeps trying to teach me and I keep resisting, and I need to give in and learn. I do traditional investments. I teach people traditional investments, but the reality is the best thing you can do is have a diversified portfolio. So understanding that you need to have money in different vehicles. And that is, again, at a individual conversation, depending on what money you have to, let's say, play with, and what money you have to invest, and what vehicle you need to put it in. But the biggest thing when you're dealing with a couple is, even when you start to have those conversations about what vehicle are we going to use, that can often cause friction and arguments, and people just give up. And so understanding, taking the time to really understand the benefits of different vehicles, what that's going to look like. Do they need to have a mutual fund? Do they need to have, an annuity? Do they need to have some money they want to go invest on Web3? What are they trying to do with the money? Or is their interest to build generational wealth and secure wealth for their children, so they start out on a different level than they did? So there's so many options, and that can seem overwhelming. But I think the biggest thing is just to understand you have to make small, measurable, tangible steps forward and become very educated in your options. Like Lauren said, get down and Google. Don't be embarrassed to Google. Put it on your personal browser. Like Rebecca said, just understand there are different options. You can be creative, with your money. Like Nicole said, you if that's really burning inside of you and you need to just sit down and say, listen, I need my money too, and I make money too, and I'm part of this too. What can I have, And like Laura Lee said, it's so important to get the young ones educated. Because boy, I wish I started this journey when I was 20 instead of in my late 30s going into my 40s, right? What would I be able to accomplish had I started saving this way and investing this way when I was younger? Mm-hmm. And it's a lot cheaper when you start when you're younger too. You can start it with $25 or $50 a month instead of, $250 or $500 a month that you're putting away, trying to reach the very same goal, which is just crazy.
So my question next is, this is, we hear this a lot. And I'm going to ask Laura, I'm going to actually have all of you answer it. So just if you can each take about 30 seconds. But the question is, do you believe, Laura Lee, that all women should have 7 streams of income? You have to unmute. You're still muted. There we go.
Sorry with that. Oh my goodness. I had no idea when I started out. I worked 3 jobs going to high school, if you can imagine. So those were jobs, but they really weren't streams of income per se, because I had to work every hour for it. And it is so important to going forward that we have multiple streams of income at our disposable income, because it's just, money is energy, but it's the energy we use to live these days. So, oh my goodness, start with one, add a second one really quickly. I've always said that to my clients. Please, please, please have at least another source of income. One, to start off to lower their income taxes if they're in a high tax bracket. For Canada, we really do have a very high tax bracket. But I'm anxious to learn more streams of income myself. There's many more that I need to learn. You talk about the younger people doing fintech and stuff. I'm not allowed to touch that at all, have never been allowed. And I'm a baby boomer, remember? So I need to catch up with you young people. So looking forward to it. But yes, I so agree with you, Anna. It is so important, dear.
What are your thoughts, Rebecca? Do you believe women should have 7 streams of income?
Well, I definitely think that passive income streams they're the way to feel secure. They're the way to own your time. So like Laura Lee was saying, where you're not working, you're not having to labor for every dollar that's coming in. I would say, though, that income streams, that's sort of one half of the picture. You also have to have organized routes for what you're going to do with that money when it comes in. Where's it going to go? Is it going to grow for you? That's how you can make those income streams. If you have a plan, if you have a purpose for that money. So you could bring in, I know that Heather and I work in the same field. We work with people all the time who have 6 figures, 7 figures coming in, and they're living paycheck to paycheck because they don't have plans. So I would say definitely, any number of income streams would be great. 7 is phenomenal. And if it can be in the form of things like investments that are giving you dividends and returns, those are excellent platforms to bring those income streams in. And a lot of those it's like intelligent money use rather than working hard. You can go get a side gig and end up exhausted, or you can be really smart with how you use your money. Even if you start with, like Laura Lee was saying, one income stream, you can put it in lots of different places. And then that can become the income stream where your money is actually working for you.
Thank you. So I'm going to bounce that question over to Adriana. Do you believe that women should have 7?
I wanted to go last because I wanted to be a little different in the sense of, I don't think it necessarily needs to be 7, first of all. I think that having more than 3 is just smart, or I should say 3 or more. And to Rebecca's point, it's all about being very strategic in what it's going to do for you, where you're going to put it. But I think it's a goal. It's not a standard, and that you got to do one at a time. When you put too many things in front of you, then you start to get lost. So just focus on doing one at a time. So I just try to think smarter, not harder. When you put such a large goal in front of you, you get anxious, you get deterred from your goal. So that's how I would answer that one.
So in terms of, if you are, which a lot of women are solopreneurs, right? Or they're solopreneurs and they're women in the workforce. They're trying to juggle 2. What would you say, Lauren, would be one of the easiest streams of income to start with first? Like, I guess what I'm saying is, like, within your business, if you could give us a little insight, like, what's the first thing that you started and then you've branched out. But what would your little side tip be to women who are like, okay, here I am, I'm still working and I have this business, but I want to go into this business full time. But, like I think that automation in business is key, but I want to hear what you think about that.
Absolutely. So I loved all of the answers, and I absolutely agree. Is 7 exactly what you need? Not necessarily. Start out small. And a lot of times we think about investments, we think we have to go big, right? Like, oh, we have to have real estate, or we have to have this, or stocks, or whatnot. But something just as simple as starting a podcast can be a stream of income. Being an author, I mean, the fact that I've been able to be a part of this incredible community and I can say I'm an author has opened other streams of income, right? Like speaking engagements.
Yeah.
Something simple as just being able to write a blog. Believe it or not, I know a lot of people think that blogging is outdated, but let me tell you, whenever you're going for sponsorships, that is one of the number one things that people want to know. Do you have a blog? Because guess what? Just like we said, Google is king, right? And so those are small, tiny steps that you can take by, writing something that's passionate, whether it's cooking or whether it's women's empowerment. Taking that you can even use over onto like Amazon. So say that's a great example, like say you're an organizer, or say that you're a cleaner, or possibly, and something like that, whatever your products are, you can become like an Amazon affiliate and say, hey, I recommend this, go buy it. And you can get another stream of income. So it doesn't have to be these big, huge, grand things such as, buying a piece of real estate or buying these stocks, or even going in and buying this huge high level NFT. Like that's not what we need to do. Just small, tiny little steps is completely doable and within reach for anyone.
I hope everybody heard that. I can attest to the podcast definitely being a stream of income. I know Adriana can too. I think if you would have asked us that 2 years ago, would we have been able to say, oh yeah, but we followed the dream, we followed each other, and it turned out to be successful. My next question is to Heather. When you talk about, you brought up the fact of the man working and the woman staying at home, right? And the man sometimes says, well, I pay the bills because I go to work, you stay home, you don't get life insurance, but I do, right? So I feel like that devalues women, number one. That's a really crappy way to, talk to your woman. But women who choose to stay at home and be stay-at-home moms and raise kids, or be a stay-at-home wife, if they were to charge you by the hour to cook, to clean, to grocery shop, to put up with the banter and all those different things, how much do you think that would be yearly? You're investing.
We're talking 6 figures. We're talking 6 figures, ladies. Maybe 7. I know. So the other night, me and my husband were going back and forth about a couple things or whatever, and I was like, okay, well, the good thing is that I've really good insurance, so I guess you'll be okay. And I said, you can just hire someone. He goes, I can't afford to do what you do. Are you kidding? He's like, we don't have enough insurance for that. But it is seriously, in all seriousness, it's a lot of money, and to try to replace, you think about what a maid cost, right? Think about what those personal chefs cost, right? Think about what, even people taking Uber. So having, a share service, a car service taking you places, right? We used to own a limousine business, and we would do even just like daily charters and stuff like that. I mean, people were dropping, hundreds, if not thousands of dollars to have a personal driver take them around places. So yeah, when you start adding up the value of what a man or a woman does, what the other partner is doing to allow the other person to go out into the work world and work. But what I will tell stay-at-home moms, because I was a stay-at-home mom, I've been a stay-at-home mom since my children were born. So I work, like Rebecca said, from home. And people say, oh, you work from home. I really don't work from home. I work from anywhere. That's what I tell people, because sometimes I'm in the car outside of ballet practice or play practice or voice class or whatever I'm at. You'll see me pictures, I'm out by the river today. Yesterday I was on a call and Adriana was like, I love your backdrop. I'm like, it's not fake. I'm not I'm sitting outside. Like, it's wherever you're at. And like Lauren said, there's multiple ways to all of a sudden pull in another stream of income. So if you're feeling less valued because you're just staying at home taking care of everything, that's not the way to think, because you're staying home taking care of everything. Okay, you're holding it all together. If you weren't there doing exactly what you're doing, the other person wouldn't be able to go and do what they do. That's the reality.
So,
but if you're trying to find some other way to bring in money so you feel more valued yourself, a really easy way to do that is some of the stuff that we do, right? Start a blog. Talk about your feelings. Talk about the way you're feeling, because there's other women out there feeling the same way that need to hear what you're saying, right? Write a daily journal that people can use, because whatever you needed to hear that day, they need to hear that day. Do a podcast. Lauren has a podcast. I have a podcast. Hannah and Adriana have a podcast, right? They all have different themes, right? There's plenty of ways that, between changing diapers, washing clothes, and cooking dinner, that you can throw in something else, even if it's an investment, because I tell people when you start making money while you're sleeping and your money starts making money, you're onto something, right? Well, how can we do that? We can do that in Web3. We can do that, with IRAs. We can do that with mutual funds. We can do that with investments. But it doesn't have to be the only way. Like you said, 7 streams of income. No, you don't have to have 7 exactly. I mean, that's great if you do. 10 are great too. So is 3 if they're working for you, right? And not creating more work for you to do. So getting really creative on how you can bring other ways to make money, not just income. How can I multiply? Be a multiplier. The other night we were talking and Althea said women are multipliers. No matter what you give us, we're going to multiply it into something else, right? And we do that across the board in a number of ways. And I think that's the important thing, is just understanding that we as women hold a lot of value. In fact, we hold all the value, because without us, things wouldn't move forward, right? And I'm not just talking about without us doing the laundry. I mean, without us giving life and being a force within ourselves and within our families, things wouldn't move forward. So I know the reason I push every day, and the reason I get up and do even when I don't feel like I want to get up and do. And Hannah and Adriana can attest to this, because they're like, will you please just go lay down? No. So it's because I worry about my kids and what they're going to have, and being that example. So I'm a mother of girls. That's what I have, are all girls in my house. So there's no shortage of girls here. But remember, your kids are watching, right? They see every move. So if you want them to have a different start than you, or you want them to have the confidence, right? You want them to know exactly who they are, they have self-worth, and to move forward, then you have to be that person, right? Whether it's in money or in life, you have to be that person and be that example for them, to show them that no matter if you are staying at home, keeping it all together, or you're out there making 7 figures at the most unbelievable job, you have the same worth. So
what you're saying is we all, women and moms, need to create our bill, put it in an envelope, and give it to the man, and
Yeah,
tell no. Okay. I was putting it out there hoping, but what you're saying is we need to really create a seat at the table with our man and say,
Yeah.
hey, we're going to share this platform together. We're going to create our wealth together. And where you're missing, I jump in. Where I'm missing, you jump in. And
It has
together
to be
we
collaborative
can.
for sure. It is a collaborative effort
So
on lots of
my
levels.
my thought is this, we talk about becoming an unstoppable woman in finance. And that goes to the wife, that goes to the grandma, that goes to the single mom, that goes to the college student, that goes to the young little women who live in our homes, like your daughters, my daughter, that goes to my daughter that's on the screen right now. It is like now or never to me to set the pace for what financially fit really means.
Yeah.
And financially fit means that we're understanding economics, we're understanding investments, we're understanding what Web3 is, we're understanding investing in real estate, what life insurance is, how to multiply, how to grow, how to have passive income, how to automate so that you're working on your business instead of constantly in your business. And the book itself, I feel like within all the chapters that all of you have written has really hit each one of those platforms and given women readers a different way to look at what financially fit is. So here's my last question to all of you. I'll start with Laura Lee, and then Laura Lee, if you want to pass it to Nicole. What are you going to do right now today to make 2023 your best year yet?
Oh my goodness. I can't wait to tell you in a couple of days some more little secrets I have up my sleeve. But one of the big things is networking with people, and especially women. We need to help raise the vibration of each other, because some days aren't as easy as other days. So my biggest thing is going to be collaboration. I know that's probably not what you were thinking, but when I tell you in a couple of days what's going on, you'll understand.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Nicole.
Well, right away, my first thought was I need to contact Lauren. Lauren, we need a master class.
I love it.
That was right away. That was just immediate. So yeah, I mean, that's my big one. And I think that ties into on the journey that I am in my finances, myself, and what that means to me. It's really looking at other opportunities for that additional income stream. Do you, for that question, do I believe that 7? I think it is what you want it to be, but I definitely for myself would like to venture in 1 or 2 more. And I already kind of put that on my goal list just a few months ago, to start kind of doing a little bit more education, a little bit more research and seeing, because man, there's more out now than there was even just 6 months ago of so many different ways that you can make additional income. So yeah, Lauren, you're at the top of the list there, sweetheart. You're right there. So
woohoo. Rebecca.
I think today, to prepare for 2023, I'm going to change my thinking. I think many women think of themselves as maybe having little impact over others, or over even in their families. And so for me, that's been the biggest thing I've been working on, is breaking out of that who me mentality. And that's where I lived. Oh, I can't do that. I'm not big enough. I'm not important enough. I'm whatever. I'm not enough. And so changing that thinking, you don't have to be giant to make a really great impact on just the people around you, the people you love, the people you care about. And so I think just changing the way I think, and allowing really great things to come to me, because I don't block myself. That's what I love about this unstoppable movement is that we stop ourselves with the stories that we've had in our hearts and our minds for our whole lives, and we can unstop those. And so that's what I would do today, is change my thinking on that.
Awesome. Lauren.
So it kind of touches a little bit on what everyone has already kind of said, is collaboration and mindset, and all of that is kind of going into that Web3 space. So really my goal for 2023 is really onboarding as many women into the space as I can in whatever way that I can, because it is our future and it is creating an incredible amount of generational wealth. And the time is now. So that's really my 2023 goal, is onboarding as many women into FinTech as possible.
I love it. I'm literally, just to let you know, Lauren, I'm sitting here and I have my screen open. I have my phone screen open, and I keep getting a text from somebody, and I won't say the name. And they're like, tell her to write a book about FinTech. Tell her to write a book about blockchains. So the message has been sent to you live. Adriana, what is your answer?
It's not a goal, it's a need. I need to do this starting today and moving forward. And honestly, it's not even about finances, but it will affect my finances moving forward, is getting my health on track. Because I struggle daily with things, and it happened today. I had an episode of stuff, and you can say you're going to start and then you never do, but until you do, that's when you promised yourself. So it's going to actually start from a health aspect, so that way you can free up and feel better to be able to make smart decisions. So that's going to be my goal.
I would say that is a phenomenal start, because what good is your wealth if you don't have your health? So I think that is an incredible start, and I'm very, very proud of you. What about you, Heather?
Oh, you guys all have such good answers, and now you get to go last. No, I think we all have to take a master's class for Lauren. No, I do. I think for 2023, it's really going to be a fun year. I have a lot of things in the works, and a lot of things in the works with my daughters. And really, our goal as a family for 2023 is just to be limitless. Like, stop making the excuses and allowing them to get in the way. Like Rebecca said, like just removing those limiting beliefs and allowing ourselves to do what we are dreaming. We're going to take a note from Hannah and Adriana to just follow those dreams and not let the what ifs get in the way, because we do have a lot of plans over here. So I'm excited about that. It's a challenge, right? But like Laura Lee said, just working on some collaborations that are going to help me to do that, learning to allow people to help me.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
That's helpful too.
I think that's incredible.
Yeah. And it's just getting the education, like Lauren touched on, like really getting the education to know your options. So I think if everybody could just commit to, I'm going to learn 3 new things this year, that'll give me other streams of income. I'm going to put those limiting beliefs aside and just go after those 3 things. I think you will find you're going to have an amazing year.
I believe that, receive that, and agree. I think for me, for my goal for 2023, the top 3 goals that I have is knowledge, for sure. Knowledge, the more you know, the more you grow. And I really do find finance to be so imperative. I've shared this with my husband the last 6 weeks. I just want to understand everything possible in terms of Web3, passive income, automation, working smarter and not harder, because I am that girl who loves to travel. And I want to be able to take all my children, and there's a whole lot of them, and all my grandchildren, and for them not to have to worry. My second goal is to continue to build my financial legacy for my kids and grandkids, so that they will not have to stress as much as their grandma and mama has. And then my third, and this is probably one of the ones that I wish someone would have done with me, is I want to give back in 2023 to women who have this vision and this dream, and they don't have someone to invest and believe in them. I want to be that woman that invests, and I want to be that woman that believes in them. And that is why, ladies and gentlemen, women are multipliers. And I want to leave it with that and thank all the incredible panelists for joining us tonight. Thank you, Heather. Thank you, Nicole. Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you, Laura Lee. Thank you, Lauren. Thank you, Adriana, for spending an hour with me today on Facebook Live and wherever else this is broadcasted. I want everyone to understand who's watching these women. Every time we do these lives, we take time away from our own families and businesses and different things to come and give this to you. And my only hope from this is that whoever watches it and who watches the replays, I pray that you pay it forward and that you really let the things that we've shared with you resonate. And get the book. Buy the book. It's affordable. You can get it for 99 cents in an ebook version. You can get it for 25 bucks on Amazon, and it'll be there tomorrow. That's an investment. That's an investment. Start investing in yourselves, ladies, and believing in who you are, and take charge. And just go out there and kick some financial ass. So thank you so much for spending Thursday with us. These ladies, get to know them. Take a screenshot of all the names on here. Look them up. They're all obviously smart. So you're not going to lose out if you reach out. So I don't know. I could just go on and on. So thank you, ladies. I really appreciate you. I, again, have learned so much. And get the book, Becoming an Unstoppable Woman in Finance. Get it today. You can order it from any author. They're any one of us. And like Laura Lee says, yes, the best is yet to come. So happy Thursday. I think it's Thursday. I hope it is. Go out, ladies. Enjoy the rest of your evening. And thank you for sharing your knowledge. Bye.